Am I the asshole for telling my brother I blame him and his wife for their daughter's actions? My brother has 2 kids. His son Jory is 15 and his daughter Emily is 7. Jory's mom died weeks after Emily was born. My brother and Jory's mom were long since divorced and he primarily lived with her until her death. Jory went through a lot in a very short period of time. Jory's maternal family are a very present part of Jory's life. This was something my brother and his wife disapproved of but allowed because my parents and I told them it was not about them or Emily but about Jory and how he lost his mom. Their attitude did not change and it did influence Emily somewhat. I believe. She adores Jory and is very jealous that he goes away for hours and sometimes overnight to be with his family. She's jealous that he's not someone who keeps photos but has one of his mom in his room, in a special frame. Mostly she's a little girl who wants her older half-brother's attention. She thinks he's the greatest person in the world. But sometimes I feel like she hears too much of what her parents think. 2 months ago there was an incident at my brother's house. Jory didn't want to spend time with Emily and was reading a letter his mom wrote to him before she died. Emily pushed and was told to get out of his room. She was angry and from what I can piece together my brother and his wife did not talk her down. When Jory left the room Emily went inside and broke the frame and tore up the photo of Jory's mom. Jory walked in as she was still tearing the photo up. Jory yelled at Emily and Emily cried and said was mad and wanted him to spend time with her but he picked a letter over her. My brother walks in and tells Jory to stop yelling at his sister and goes to console Emily. Both my brother and his wife decide it's not a big issue. Jory disagrees and they argue. Emily went back to Jory's room later and says she's sorry but Jory ignores her and she cried and said she just wanted him to not love his mom more. He told her he didn't love her and would always love his mom more and he would never forgive her for what she did. That he did not want her as his sister and she needed to get out of his room and not speak to him again. Things got intense between my brother and Jory left and went to stay with his maternal grandparents. My brother tried to stop him but his wife said she didn't want Jory around Emily if he was going to be so hateful. Jory is still with his grandparents. My brother thought Jory would have seen sense and calmed down. I said he couldn't expect Jory to see it as a minor issue. My brother was like I couldn't seriously be blaming a 7-year-old for acting out the way she did. I said no. I blamed him and his wife. That they are the parents and handled it all badly and likely fed into Emily's jealousy with their attitude that Jory shouldn't see his family. I said I hold them accountable for that and then for acting like Jory had no right to be mad. My brother believes I'm the one who is wrong and being an ass to him and his wife. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Destroying other people's personal stuff is not okay and a teachable lesson Emily should have learned right there and then. It's obvious Emily is getting away with bad behavior because it's their biological child. Jory needs to stay with his maternal grandparents where he and his belongings are respected. Living with your brother, his father, will not improve until your brother's attitude changes, and it does not sound like it will. Sound like you've been very supportive of Jory. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. I feel really angry for Jory. His stepmother has zero empathy and both his parents are enabling some bloody awful behavior from Emily. You told them straight and that was the right thing to do. Not the asshole. Emily certainly can be blamed for what she did. She may be 7 but she knew exactly what she was doing. Emily should have been punished. If his maternal grandparents are willing to have him, Jory should stay with them permanently. Jory has an evil stepmother and a useless father. Evil stepmother? Inconsiderate father? Thank God at least he has his grandparents to lean on. Because the father doesn't really seem he can see anything beyond his new wife, and the only hateful person here is your brother and his wife. Not the asshole. Forget the fact that she destroyed a precious item of his. Forget the fact they have different moms. What 15-year-old boy wants to spend all of his time with? His 7-year-old sister? Very few. Not the asshole. Your brother and his wife are terrible at blending families. And this is one of the consequences of that. Your brother is going to lose contact with his son. And only he is to blame. Not the asshole. Anyone that's not Team Jory here is an Yes. Emily is a child, but she needed some real consequences and explanations in this situation. Speaking of AHs, brother and wife need to pull their heads out of each other's. AITA. Your brother and his wife are idiots. Not the asshole. You were spot on. X200B. Edit to add. Your Sil must be happy. Her stepson has gone away. Not the asshole. And Jory needs to stay with his maternal family. Your brother and Sil are the worst kind of parents. Just trying to erase his mother? They literally destroyed Emily and Jory's relationship and their own with him. More than likely, he won't speak to Emily until she's an adult unless he is forced. And your brother NC when he's 18. Tell your bro congrats on being a shit father. Not the asshole. Poor Jory. Yellow heart, yellow heart, yellow heart. Not the asshole. Poor Jory. Hope he can stay with his grandparents until he can be on his own. Your brother and Sil suck. They may have influenced Emily, but a 7-year-old knows when they do bad things. My son is 5 and knows when he screwed up. Not the asshole. My mom passed away 8 years ago and I'm an adult. If anyone ripped my mom's picture apart, I would go nuclear. It's a pain and trauma that never gets better. You learn how to manage it, but the pain is still there. What Emily did was cruel, but your brother and his wife's response puts them into villain territory. Joey will never I would be surprised if he forgave any of them. Sounds like your brother wanted to tear it up too and his daughter beat him to it. The bottom line is they don't respect Jory or anything about or for him. Jory needs to permanently get out of that situation before something worse happens. Not the asshole at all. Your brother needed to hear the truth from another adult, and sticking up for your nephew was the right thing. It sounds like your Sil and brother not wanting Jory to see his mother's family is just being jealous and toxic. You should see Jory and make sure you stay in his life. Regardless or where he lives. Can clearly tell who the favored child is. Your brother and his wife are horrendous. They've enables Emily's behavior and now shocked when Jory wants nothing to do with them. Hope Jory is able to heal from this. Some extended time apart from them is probably for the best. If your brother and his wife don't adjust their behavior, they are going to lose a child. In a few years Jory will be old enough to make his own life and decisions, and I wouldn't be surprised if he chooses to cut them all out of his life. Not the asshole. Any professional grief counselor would tell your terrible brother that he and his terrible wife are wrong, cruel, and damaging both children. What heartless people. AITA and your brother and his wife are being remarkably cruel to Jory. If Jory isn't already, perhaps he sounds see an individual counselor. And the family should have some counseling. Not the asshole. Your brother is very wrong and has lost his relationship with Jory. That kid will not be back. Even if the court forces his body, he is emotionally gone. Continue to be there for Jory.